Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Those in his gospel, God, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. Lord's will to be edifying. Real quick, it says the new C, variant surgeon in China has arrived in the U.S. Here's what to know about Nimbus. Here we go again. When this shit, just when you thought it was destroyed, well, gone or not in the news, here they go talking about it again. But you look up the word Nimbus, it says a luminous cloud or a halo surrounding a supernatural being or a saint or a large gray rain cloud. Why do they call it Nimbus? A rain cloud, right? Because, they say that the storm, the calm before the storm, and clouds can represent storms as well. And no coincidence they call this ordeal Nimbus, because this C-19 has done a total havoc during the year 2021, 2020, 2022. A lot of people got sick from taking the you-know-whats, and, a lot of people was silenced and discredited and wrote off as being crazy and conspiratorial, all because they was bringing out the facts of this generated hoax that they bought out, which people did get sick from it, but Esau released a biological weapon because it came out that this shit was manufactured in a lab. I forgot it was in a university of something. I forgot what state it was, but it came out that guy Dr. Fauci was a fraud, man. I've been telling people from day one you can't trust this dude, but everybody trusted him all because just the science. But hey, now they getting ready to pull number 2 on you probably, and you people are gonna fall for it again, because why wouldn't you? You Americans. But it says here, a new C variant is spreading in many parts of the world, and they shut the world down over this just a couple of years ago, remember? But it says the new variant NB 1.8.1, which shows you they have a patent on this shit. It says has been identified as the cause of resurgence in China and several other Asian countries. And that's played out, man, because we found out that Fauci paid $8 million to scientists to say that it was from a bat, but yet it was a lab leak. And this is public information, but the average idiot out there don't see it that way. They still believe that people are conspiracy theorists. But it says here, experts in Europe are predicting a possible increase in cases there, but a summer wave can also occur in the United States. But according to the U.S. Centers for and U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Creation, I'll say it that way, NB 1.81 already represents about 1/3 of new cases as of June 7. And I'm still abbreviating it because this algorithm still tends to get slick, and they would literally shut your page down, man. Okay, when the fact that they should be sued out of the water because everybody pages that they took down for spreading this information was absolutely on point. But it says here, as of June 7, this is a significant increase from just a month before. The new case represent just 5% of the new It says, could another summer wave really occur? And do we do current such and such still work? And if so, we should consider getting another dose now. And the question is, hell no, because I believe they pulled some of these doses from the shelves. You got Pfizer, you had Moderna, you had Johnson & Johnson. They pulled a lot of this shit from the shelves, allegedly. And it says, and what precautions should people take to reduce their risk of contracting C-19? But it says, this is matter of fact, I guess this is just a conversation. It says the SARS-CoV-2 such and such is constantly mutating, right? It's constantly mutating because they have what they call gain of function. Okay, when they take particular proteins and splices from a particular virus and they enhance them so they can be so they can jump from humans to whatever other hybrid. Like prime example, bird flu. Bird flu wasn't really I think they had like maybe 800 cases over the span that this thing has existed over some decades. So it wasn't really transmissible to humans, but they found out how to make it contract from animals to humans. which is gain of function, right? Because that's what they do. Esau's a mad scientist. He'll take some shit that a human can't catch, and he will literally create it so it can jump on humans, so he can be justified on pushing his poisons on you, man. And that's how this dude get down. It's how he always got down. He's a devil. But when you tell people this shit, since you're not quote unquote credible or a credible source, they're not gonna take what you say, but instead they're just gonna write you off like, yeah, you just making it up. You just a conspiracy theorist. And that's what these people would say, man. And this is why a lot of them went down there and got that you know what, and a lot of them are in the spirit world now. Okay, it came out that 74% of the people that got this jump shot end up going to the spirit world, man. All right, and the thing of it is, it didn't work, or it didn't depupulate. It didn't DEPUPOLUAT or DEPOPULATE the people in terms as the elite thought, because see, on the Georgia Guidestones, it basically mentioned that maintaining humanity unto 500 million. And this depot, SHOT, and I'm not talking about birth control, was set up to totally obliterate, starting with you Jakes first, because remember, they said that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have the highest risk of catching it. And Biden said it in that fucking order, man. You know, so yeah, this dude is the devil. But it says here, it says the more opportunities the virus is given to spread, the more opportunity it has to mutate. And it don't mutate on its own. You caused it. It says every time a new variant arises, it appears to be outcompeting previous strains. And it's important to ask the questions: is it causing more severe diseases, or is it contagious, and do existing such and such work against it? But it says the new variant, also called the nimbus, which goes into a cloud, quiet before the storm, right? It says is a descendant of the Omicron strain, which you go back into the Greek word that's actually in the Greek, what do they call it? The Greek alphabet. But it says the World Health Organization, because they believe in their Greek god of medicine, like they believe in their Greek philosophers, and you got Hippocrates, you got what's his other guy's name? You got what's his guy's name? Asclepius. You know, you got their Greek philosophers, man. You got Aristotle. You know, all these other Greek philosophies that they take and merge their concepts through, because this is the Greco-Roman Empire all over again. And the average person don't understand that because they're in total darkness. All right. So let's get this here. Matter of fact, I'm going to come to the book of Isaiah 60, because the people, they're lost. They're just in the dark. They don't know what the hell is going on. But this is the book of Isaiah 60 and 2. It says, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people, but the Lord shall rise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And this is why we're able to bring out this information as fluently as we do, because, you know, there's a spirit that the Most High has put on his men to, you know, weed through this information and present it to you and filter it through the scriptures, you know. But the average person, it says they are in darkness, gross darkness, because the most people don't even know that this is the Greco-Roman Empire over again, and they don't see how Esau is following the same playbook that the Greeks and Romans have followed over 2,000 years ago, and it's the same thing. You know, it's nothing is by coincidence here. Everything is you know, it's followed by a playbook, so to speak. You know, let's go to Corinthians, because this is nothing but a device of Satan, because ultimately they want to get the New World Order up and running. They need to accelerate the tide, so they need to come up with whatever crisis necessary in order to get people to buck up, so they can put people in servitude. But 2 Corinthians 2 and 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Yeah, and we're not ignorant of this. We didn't fall for it the first time. Okay, you people fell for the pump fake, well, yet you flinched and got off balance, and you got caught with that left hook. We seen it coming, so we was able to dodge it. And Lord's will, we're gonna dodge a new one, because they're gonna push the shit again, and they're gonna push the chip, and before you know it, there's gonna be a whole draconian world around you. So it says here, it says the World Health Organization has deemed a new strain a variant under monitoring. However, the WHO also reports that surveillance data do not show that it has increased severity compared to previous circulating variants. But given that the strain is outcompeting previous variants, it's possible that it could be more contagious and that there's nothing to suggest that it will spread differently compared to the past variants. But it says here, but as for whether the existing such and such work against this variant, the answer is not known. Excuses to push another one, right? It says, but they cite laboratory data showing that it could have some immune escape, which means it may be less responsive to the immunity provided by such and such, which they don't provide that, or prior infection, and suggesting a possible reduction in the such efficacy. But it says at the same time, it says it is a close descendant of other variants or other strains against which the such and such have efficacy. But it says here, I expect there will be more data available in the coming weeks as federal health experts will soon decide the formulation of this false updated such and such, and they're still pushing this shit after it has been proven to be toxic, proven to be fatal, and yet they're still pushing it. And the crazy part about it is that, you know, these corporations have immunity from it, man. So they basically put a patent inside you and a program inside you that they don't have to take any accountability for whatever happens to you. Because it says here, U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., which he's pushing a chip now, announced that the such and such, you know what, are no longer recommended for healthy children and pregnant women. It says these 3-pointers appear to still be accessible for children. For instance, the CDC's guidance now reads that children could get the such and such after consulting with their health care provider. But however, there are already reports of pregnant women having more difficulty obtaining those such and such, man. Which, in my humble opinion, you'd be wise to stay as far away from that shit as possible, man. All right, if they screaming the 3-pointer, hey, go the other way, go down court. All right. So anyway, Ezekiel 7, and let's start at verses 14. It said, they have blown the trumpet, even to make all ready, but none go into the battle. Yeah, we've been out here spreading the word. We've been warning the people, man. Like, I was speaking to my supervisor yesterday, and she was like, you know, she was telling me, she said, man, they didn't even want to hire you on because you went around it. I said, yeah, I know. She said, that's wild. She said, how you was able to navigate around that. And she said, it's funny. She said, those of us that took this shit still caught it, but you figured a way around it. And I couldn't do nothing but, like, yeah, that's the truth. Because, see, like I was telling people, man, I'm like, look, man, at the end of the day, if you ain't got faith in the Lord, then regardless what you do. But I'm like, we got faith, man. So I'm like, regardless if I lose my gig or whatever, I'm like, the Most High is going to provide a way. Because when the scriptures say, when have anybody ever been confounded that put their trust in the Heavenly Father? You know, from Jump Street, brothers was already rebellious against it. I'm like, I'm not taking shit. I don't give a fuck what you say. And we stood on that. We stood on it. We stood 10 toes down. And the Most High still blessed us, man. All right. But those of you that didn't take heed to the warning, you all messed up now. You got breathing problems. And you know, the crazy part about it is that everybody has gut inflammation, man. You know, and I speculate that because believe it or not, even if you didn't take it, they had something which is called spike proteins and shedding and all this other shit. So the people that took it affected people that didn't take it. And I know that for a fact because, you know, being around people at work that took that shit, I would be around the people and I would feel messed up around them. I'd be dizzy and lightheaded, you know. And then I speculate that and, you know, just I speculate that has caused, you know, disruptions in the body because now everybody is suffering from some type of gut inflammation or all this other shit, even though the food is terrible, the food is bad. Like literally everybody over here has some type of stomach problems, even if they don't realize it. But I was looking up some natural products, and a lot of the shit, like symptoms and stuff, they all like as far as for gut inflammation and IBS, which that is due to the foods and so forth and the chemicals and all that other stuff. But a lot of these products are sold out. But I noticed the influx in that once this ordeal hit back in 2020, 2021, you know, because people have what they call long see you know what. So everybody was all messed up. Even if you didn't take it and you caught the shit, you got messed up from it because it was doing something in the body, man. I felt like that whole ordeal was attacking weak parts of people's body. Like certain people may have had heart problems, it'd attack that. If you had gut issues, it'd attack that, you know. And that's just my, you know, my humble opinion. I can't necessarily prove that, but it's no coincidence that people are a lot more sicker than what they were, you know. And of course that comes from a screwed up food supply system. The water's all messed up, and believe it or not, your food is even more toxic than what it was 5 years ago. So we're being poisoned, man. But it says here, but none goeth to the battle. It says, for my wrath is upon all the multitude thereof. 15, but the sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. And this is nothing more but another pestilence, all right? Because the scriptures say that famines and pestilence in diverse places. So, yeah, this is going to be a constant thing, a constant uphill until this place is destroyed. Because this ain't the only pestilence that's going to hit the earth. Okay, you're going to have multiple plagues that's going to hit the earth in one time. And we do have plagues in the earth. Just a lot of it is not being reported on. But it says, but none goeth to the battle, for the wrath is upon all the multitude thereof. But the sword is without, and the pestilence and famine within. And he that is in the field should die with the sword. And he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him, all right? And pestilence is nothing more but a disease. And Yahweh Shai warned us. He said that would be famines and pestilence in diverse places, man. These are the beginning of sorrows. But they that escape of them should escape, and should be on the mountains like doves of the valleys, all of them mourning, every one for his iniquity. And all hands should be feeble, all knees should be weak as water. And they shall also gird themselves with sackcloth, and horror shall cover them, and shame should be upon all faces, and baldness upon all heads. So we ain't seen nothing yet. All right, there's gonna come a time that people are just gonna start dropping dead from whatever chemical, whatever frequency they activate. And those of you that got that shit inside you, a lot of you just gonna start dropping, man. All right, that remind me of I was watching a documentary on Netflix last week about this Travis Scott, the Juice World concert, I think back in 2021, during the time that, you know, the ordeal was heavy and everybody was pretty much jabbed up by then. And all of a sudden some agent or biological agent was released into the audience, and people started just going batshit crazy. You know, which remind me of that movie, The Cell, with John Cusack. They activated frequency and people just started going batshit crazy. So I speculate that whatever Esau did, hey, he ignited some type of frequency and it signaled whatever was in people's bodies, and they just fucking start going crazy, and a lot of people were trampled and died. Okay? So, hey, it's going to be bad, man. You know? But anyway, this is the book of Jeremiah 15:2. And it says, and it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus says the Lord, such are for death to death, and such are for the sword to the sword, and such are for the famine to the famine, such are for the captivity to the captivity. And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, says Yahweh, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and to destroy. And this is part of the sword, man, because biological warfare is nothing more but a weapon that Esau has used and perfected on the left-hand side, man. So this man is weaponed up through deception, through pestilence, through actual weapons, military. You know, he's weaponed up. Your own fucking car is a vehicle against you, a weapon against you. You know, because that's how Esau gets down. Revelation 6:7, it says, and when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th beast say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and paleness represents death. It says, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the 4th part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth, man. So these goes into the plagues, the pestilence, and all this other madness that this man is getting ready to conjure up on the people. All right, and those of you that's wicked, and guess what? You're going to get caught up in it. Point blank, period. All right? 2 Ezra 15, and let's start at verses 22. It says, my right hand should not spare the sinners. And it's talking about our people, and as well as you heathen. It says, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth. It says, the fire is gone forth from his wrath, and have consumed the foundations of the earth, and the sinners like the straw that is kindled. But woe to them that sin, and keep not my commandments, says Yahweh. I will not spare them, but go you your way, ye children, from the power, and defile not my sanctuary. It says, for the Lord knoweth all that sin against him, and therefore he delivered them unto death and destruction. And it's going to come in the form of plagues, coming in the form of civil war, in the form of sickness, pestilence, famines, and soon to be the ICBMs. But behold, a horrible vision. Matter of fact, nope. It says, for now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. So, hey, you're going to always hear about this. Okay, you're going to always hear about some new variant, some new strain, or something new that they're going to continue to push on you, just so they can keep you in the loop or out of the loop. For the Most High shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against him. All right. So I'm going to end it giving all praises and glory and honor that is due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you will edify. Until the next lesson. Shalom.